What's going on, my people? How are we feeling today? It's Champion Yogi, and I'm here to bring you more yoga fun. Today, we are going to work on something called an infinite flow, right? We're going to take a space that allows you to flow and really just continue to go as long as you like to go. The thing that I love about infinite flows is it allows you to test your stamina and allows you to build your endurance, and it allows you to really check in with your body depending on the flow to see where you are the weakest, where you are the strongest, where are your gifts and where are your challenges, right? So the thing I love about an infinite flow is it really gives you the space to see who you are and see what's going on with you. Now, one of the most infamous of all the infinite flows there is when it comes to Vinyasa yoga is the Vinyasa flow, right? It is low plank, up dog, and downward facing dog. Now, you can adjust that and change that a lot of different ways, but you can just cycle through those three flows over and over and over again, right? And today, that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about that vinyasa flow, cycling through it. We're going to give you some spaces to let it come down and modify it to be a little more gentle if that's what you need. Just kind of wake your body up for the morning, give your whole self a good go. Or if you're really looking to challenge yourself, push yourself, and get some strength building and maybe even build up your heart rate a little bit, we're going to offer you that space as well. So it's up to you. Have it the way you like it, but let's figure it out together. So we're going to start in a tabletop position to really get into this vinyasa flow. Now, in this tabletop position, you want to have your shoulders over your elbows, elbows over your wrists, and then your hips over your knees, your feet as wide as your knees as wide as your hands as wide as your shoulders. That's a good space to start. Now, the first thing we're going to talk about is the low plank, right? The low plank is one of the more challenging spaces in here. Really strength building into these arms. And when you come to low plank, the first thing you want to do is you want to take your knees back behind your hips so they're not directly under you, right? So we're going to take them back a little bit and give you some space to really start to find a plank. And now you're in a plank, right? Your core muscles is working to keep this up a little bit. Your arms are nice and strong. What you want to do is you want to push your thumbs towards the top of the mat and rotate your hands out so your elbows come in and give you that space, right? And then you're going to take your shoulders while they're stacked over the wrist and maybe even lean forward a little bit more to give them that space to let the elbows start to go beyond the wrist. Now, once that happens, you take a little bend and they'll come back and stack right over the wrist and start to lower yourself down. Keep your gaze down towards the mat so your spine stays long. And this is good right here. This is a good chaturanga, right? You have some bend, your biceps are working, you're finding that space. Now you can take this all the way down so the shoulders come to about the elbow height, and that's still a good chaturanga right here. Okay, so if you like this a little bit more depth, a little bit more challenge, have this space. If you need it a little bit higher, then have that space. From your chaturanga, you don't really want to lower your body all the way down. You want to make maybe bring the hips down. In that space, you're coming for an up dog or possibly a cobra. It's up to you. So when we come from that chaturanga space, right, we have our hands down, the elbows together, and we're starting to lower down. You can start to let these hips just melt in towards the mat and let the shoulders rise up right here. Still keeping those elbows squeezed into the side, maybe even squeezing the thighs together, not bringing the feet together, just squeezing those thighs together so the hips start to sink down a little more. Maybe roll your shoulders back and broaden out the chest right here, and then have your up dog. Now, maybe you need a little less, a little more bend into the elbows, a little more support for the stomach, and just have this cobra. The fingers are nice and light right here. They're not really trying to help you come up. You're really using that lower back strength right here. So it's more of a strengthener, right? And you're turning nice and light into those hands. So that's your up dog. That's your cobra. You have that, and that's on your inhale, right? So the chaturanga is on your exhale. The inhale brings to the up dog, and then the exhale takes us to our final space, our down dog. Now, if you're trying to be gentle about this, if this is a morning warm up for you coming out of your up dog, maybe not down dog. Maybe you're going back to child's pose, right? You just lift those hips, sink all the way back, going in and lower the forehead down and be right here into this space. And that might be a good space for you for this day, right? And as we start to go through this infinite loop, that may be the space to wake you up in the morning, right? So let's talk about it going forward. What if it's not waking you up in the morning? What if it's a good push? If it's a good push, we're still starting this tabletop to come to our space. Maybe you tuck the toes under and lift those knees up and find your high plank. And then you go through it the same way, shift forward, squeeze the elbows in as you come down to a low plank. Again, right here can be a good space for you, or shoulders all the way down to the elbow height. It's completely up to you. Keep your gaze down, spine is long. And then your inhale, maybe you flip the toes and keep the knees up, roll the shoulders back and come to this up dog. And like those hips to sink in, squeeze those thighs together, elbows squeeze into the side. You can roll the shoulders back and then exhale. You'll tuck your toes under, lift your hips up, push your hips back towards your heels, maybe a little bend into the knees if the heels aren't touching now. Rolling the elbows together and pull your head through your arm and back to your downward facing dog. Now, that gives you a little bit more challenge, right? The knees don't come down. There's not a lot of support there. You really have to keep it into the space. Always remember, make sure you get a good warm up, and depending on if you're going to do this for a push. If you're just doing this for your morning routine and you're trying to wake your body up a little bit, it's fine. This can be a good warm up for you. But if you're really trying to push and build some strength and work up some sweat, try to warm up your wrists and things like that before we go into it. Now, let's look at this as an infinite loop and get on out of here so you can start working on your loop and seeing how many times you go through. All right. So I'm going to go through it 2 times through the modified way, and then I'm going to go through it 2 times through the knees up way, and we'll get into it and have some fun. And then maybe one more time to just try to throw some other things in there so you can start getting those creative juices to flow. Okay. Let's do it right here at the top of the mat. We find that tabletop. We take the knees back. We shift forward. Exhale, low plank. Very good. Inhale, cobra up dog. Exhale, child's pose. Take it back. Go right back forward. Inhale, shift forward. Exhale, low plank. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Soon as we get back to that child's pose, we shift forward. Let's take it up a notch right here. Low plank, squeeze the elbows in. Flip the toes, lift the chest, up dog. And then tuck the toes, lift the hips, downward facing dog. Now we shift through a high plank instead of through that tabletop. So shift forward, inhale. Exhale, low plank. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Good. Maybe you can skip that high plank and take it all the way down. Inhale, exhale. Good. Inhale and exhale. Nice. Maybe a little bit of challenge right here. Float a foot. Inhale. Right foot floats. Exhale. Nice. Inhale. And then exhale. Take it up to a three-legged down dog. You know what I mean? Have some space right here. Shift it forward. Good. If you do one, you got to do the other on the other side. And that's how that vinyasa flow goes. We roll it all the way forward. Nice. Find that chaturanga. Maybe when you come to this up dog, you bring those toes towards the back of the head. And then in your downward facing dog, you might even want to add in a twist right here. Have some fun. Like I said, three-legged down dog. It's completely up to you how you play around with this. Allow it to be a space that works for you. Allow it to be something that gives you exactly what you need. Like I said, a good morning, wake up, your body feels good and going. A nice good workout, push it, set a timer or something, see if you can do it for 10 minutes without stopping or something crazy like that. Or a number of rounds that you just want to go through, right? And then continue to build on that. Acknowledge what happens in your body first. I always say record yourself, go back and watch the film, see what was happening, see if those hips were sinking in, see if those elbows were squeezing in, and then acknowledge what you need to work on and move forward and get stronger all throughout your practice. I want to thank you so much for practicing with me today. My name is Champion Yogi. You can always find me at my website, on TikTok, on Instagram, on Facebook, YouTube. Send me a message. Let's work together. I want to help you build your strength. I want to help you find that mobility. I want to help you find the keys to a healthy and happy long life. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I leave you with light, love, peace.